These are my thoughts after reading the entire 80 pages of the lawsuit filed by Blake Lively against Justin Baldoni. I will start off by saying the allegations in this lawsuit and the facts alleged by Blake Lively are deplorable and something no human being should have to go through, whether they signed up for it to be an actress in a big movie role that included some intimate scenes or not. It was totally uncalled for, unprofessional, unacceptable, and not appropriate if true. But it must be added that this complaint reads as much like an op-ed at certain parts as it does a civil lawsuit. But as you read through the facts and the timeline in this complaint, you find out that Blake Lively and her team did not file this lawsuit until they uncovered the fact that Justin Baldoni allegedly hired crisis management teams to target, manipulate, and bury Blake Lively publicly and on social media. Which brings up the question, is this the next move in a PR battle between Justin Baldoni and his team and Blake Lively and her team? Because this was a major piece of public relations filed by Blake Lively and her attorneys. 80 pages going into excruciating detail about the allegations of what happened on set and afterwards are not always necessary to file a civil complaint. You don't have to put in every single fact and detail. You don't have to put in every single text message you have that may or may not prove something that are in the allegations. Speaking of the text messages, they help. They're huge, potentially the biggest part of evidence and the biggest piece in this complaint because they're objective and they peek behind the curtain. And nobody likes to have their private text messages read aloud and used against them, which is why I always say, assume everything you put in a text and email is going to get read to your mother. Those text messages allegedly confirm and show the sinister plan Justin Baldoni and his crisis management team had when going after and targeting Blake Lively to make her look bad and Justin Baldoni look good, to bury negative stories about Justin Baldoni and promote negative stories about Blake Lively. But if you look at Justin Baldoni's response to this lawsuit, he says that's exactly what's happening here. And that Blake Lively herself hired a management team to handle the PR in the background, and we don't know what those text messages say. Another issue I have with the complaint, at least the version that I read, which is 80 pages long, is that it would likely get dismissed in Florida for failure to state a cause of action, or at least for a motion for a more definite statement. Not meaning that Blake Lively and her team would lose, but that they didn't actually provide the elements of each of the 10 causes of action that they are suing Justin Baldoni et al., including the management companies, including his own production company, including his financial backer. It fails in 80 pages, by the way. It fails to, at least in the version that I saw, state each individual element of every single one of the 10 causes of action filed against Baldoni and all the other defendants. And what that means is you have to set out what each individual element is for every cause of action you file. Duty, breach, causation, damages for negligence. And then you have to take the facts that you've alleged. And at this point, they're taken as true. In civil lawsuits, when the defendant files the initial motion to dismiss and the judge is looking at the document, they take all the facts as true. And they say, if these facts are true, can they prove these causes of action? But in order to do that, you must set out what the elements are in each of the causes of action, which I did not see anywhere in the 80-page complaint. Additionally, you can understand why that is the fair way to handle this process because the defendant has to know what they're responding to. If they have to file a responsive pleading and respond to this complaint with their answer and affirmative defenses, they need to know what they're responding to. They need to know which facts specifically you believe prove which causes of action. And lastly, the biggest question I have when reading this complaint is how far will this go in the new age of social media, in the new age of bots and of social media warfare and manipulation and astroturfing and all these different terms that are used in this complaint. Because back in the day, it used to just be considered PR. It used to be considered keyboard warriors, nasty people online who say mean things that they may never say in real life. But where does it go too far? Where does it break the law? Where does it become criminal? Where does it become a situation where you can get sued civilly for it? To hire people to promote bad articles that already exist about you? Or do they have to make up lies? Do they have to create and fabricate stories about you? Can they just make one person look good in an article and one person look bad? How far do we want to push this with our First Amendment, freedom of speech? With media and news outlets that are legally allowed to give their opinion about certain situations, as long as they're not knowingly giving false information, as long as they're not, because in this situation, there's no libel, there's no slander, but instead it's intentional infliction of emotional distress. It's retaliation. It's harassment. Where are those lines legally? And how are they going to use these facts, Blake Lively's lawyers, how are they going to use these facts to prove that they break the law? How are they going to explain and analyze and put them into these specific causes of action to prove this is wrong, this can't happen, these people need to be punished, and we need to deter this action in the future? Now, this feels like as much of a major PR moment and a major PR swing of the hammer as it does a civil lawsuit. Now, this lawsuit is filled with salacious and horrible allegations and facts from Blake Lively and her team. And it seems like a lot of it is going to be able to be either corroborated or completely denied by the rest of the cast and crew and people involved. So we'll wait to see how the facts come out. But at the very least, this 80-page complaint is a document that is a huge PR move for Blake Lively and her team. It is a nightmare for Justin Baldoni and his team. I do not think we've seen the last of the PR battle online, on social media, and now in the court system between these two co-stars of one of the biggest films of the year. So we'll keep an eye on it. You guys let me know what questions you have. I tried to break it down a little shorter, but if you want the full deep dive, which is about 2 hours, I read the full 60 pages, excluding the attachments to the complaint, on my YouTube channel. The link will be in the description below. But we'll continue this conversation if it's something you guys are interested in. Let me know in the comment section. Hit the like button. But that's all we got. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, The Lawyer You Know.